Good afternoon, this is Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. The Israeli warplanes' violation of Syrian airspace and the flagrant aggression they launched against a scientific research center in Jumraya in Damascus suburbs has triggered a series of condemnations on the Arab and international arenas, which expressed rejection of this aggressive act that grossly contravened UN charters and agreements. Russia denounced the Israeli act, expressing deep concern over this aggression, branding it as unacceptable and running counter to UN charters and agreements, as it constituted a flagrant violation of the lands of a sovereign state. On the other hand, the Russian Foreign Ministry said some Russian initiatives on Syria are harshly opposed by the West, particularly the United States. The ministry added that the statements made by American Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on Russia's unwillingness to implement the Geneva Statement are biased and represent a tactless interpretation of Moscow's stand towards Syria. China today stressed the need to preserve regional security and stability in the wake of the Israeli aggression on a scientific research center in Jumraya in Damascus suburbs. Chinese Foreign Ministry's spokesman Hong Li was quoted as saying that China hoped all concerned parties would avoid taking any moves that might escalate tension in Syria. Iran has strongly condemned the Israeli aggression on a scientific research center in Jumraya in Damascus suburbs, denouncing it as a flagrant violation of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi has been quoted by Al Alam channel as affirming that the Israeli aggression comes within the Western and Israeli policies to blur the achievements of the Syrian government and people in solidifying sovereignty and restoring stability and security to the country. Salehi added that the aggression confirms the Syrian government and people's right to resist the Israeli entity. It also confirms, the Iranian minister added, that the acts of the armed terrorist groups which shake up stability in Syria go in parallel with the Israeli objectives now more than before. The Iranian minister called on regional states to be on the alert to confront the Israeli entity's ongoing crimes against the peoples of the region. Lebanon has also condemned the Israeli raid. Lebanese Foreign Minister Adnan Mansour denounced the Israeli aggression, which confirms the reality of the terrorist course Israel has pursued since 1948 and the permanent threat it has posed on Arab security and peace, a course that requires from the Arabs to adopt a decisive stand to confront it with all the legitimate ways and means. The Lebanese Hezbollah party also denounced in a statement the Israeli aggression on a Syrian scientific research center, considering the act as being in harmony with the criminal and hostile nature of the Zionist entity and in implementation of its policy that aims at preventing any Arab or Islamic force from enhancing its military and technological potentials. The aggression, Hezbollah statement added, reveals the background of what is happening in Syria and its criminal dimensions that aim at destroying Syria and its army and undermining its pivotal role within the resistance line. On its part, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine General Command has affirmed that the Zionist aggression on Syria is a direct aggression against all the sides of the resistance and an encroachment on the sovereignty of the nation as a whole. The front said that after the failure of the Zionist Mossad's tools and stooges in Syria, the Zionist enemy resorted to intervention on the ground to raise the morale of its mercenaries in a desperate and unsuccessful attempt to change some military and political data. On its part, Syria, the Homeland Party, has affirmed that the Zionist entity is enemy number one for the Syrian land and people. The party added that the Zionist enemy takes advantage of the current situation in the country in order to target once again the Syrian land in a flagrant barbaric aggression against Syrian sovereignty and the Syrian people's dignity. The Syrian Human Rights Network, in its turn, strongly denounced the Israeli air shelling of a scientific research center in Jumraya in Damascus suburbs, considering the act as a serious violation of the international humanitarian law, referring to the Israeli increasing arrogance and violations of the UN and Security Council's agreements. The Syrian Association of the UN condemned the Israeli aggression on Jumraya Research Center in Damascus countryside. The association stressed in a letter addressed to the UN Secretary General that it is the duty of the UN General Assembly to condemn the aggression, which violates all international norms and laws. The association stressed that the UN approach in dealing with the Palestinian cause since the British Mandate of Palestine in 1922 is main cause of tension in the Middle East. A unit of our armed forces declared Bustar al-Harir in Daraa countryside as a safe town and destroyed gatherings of terrorists, including their weapons, ammunition and criminal tools which they used in attacks on people. The inhabitants confirmed that the terrorists had destroyed and burned mosques and government buildings, and they burned the bodies of their dead and buried them in mass graves in Al-Lajat area. Two more protesters were shot dead before dawn near Cairo's central Tahrir Square yesterday, a day after the army chief warned that the state was on the brink of collapse. Egyptian Health Ministry said in a statement that more than 56 people have been killed in the past 7 days of protest by Morsi's opponents. Near Cairo's Tahrir Square, dozens of protesters threw stones at police, who fired back tear gas. Opposition leaders called for a meeting of the president, ministers, the ruling party and the opposition to halt the violence. The National Salvation Front restated the precondition that Morsi must be committed to forming a national unity government. The Bahraini capital Al-Manama, along with other cities, witnessed massive protests in solidarity with the victims who fell in previous confrontations. The protesters raised slogans calling for social and economic reforms. The Bahraini police responded by using poisonous tear gas and arresting a number of citizens. Human Rights Council called on the Zionist entity to evacuate all settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. The call comes at a time when Israel continues to build illegal settlements on the occupied territories, including East Jerusalem. Israel boycotted a session on Tuesday to conduct a periodic review of its policies related to human rights in Geneva, to become the first state to boycott a review process of the Human Rights Council of the United Nations. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad stressed that no one benefits from the events in the region except what he called the enemy of humanity, referring to the importance of strengthening values of cooperation among all countries. During his meeting, the Omani Minister for Foreign Affairs, Youssef Ben Alawi, the Iranian president made it clear that the world should observe ethics of justice and respect in international relations. For his part, Ben Alawi praised Iran's firm attitude in promoting peace and stability in the whole region. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more news about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Khalid Saqabani after a short break.